First of all, thanks for the invitation. It's a big pleasure to be here. It's also quite nerve-wracking because, the level of knowledge in this room. AI, I'm not going to talk about AI, I'm going to talk about human capital, solid people. But let me first give you an introduction to KOMBIT, because KOMBIT is one of a kind in Denmark. There is no company like KOMBIT. In fact, there is no company like KOMBIT in the world. The way that we work is that we, through EU tenders, commission companies to develop IT software for the Danish municipalities. Now, we've done that for the past 15 years. So 15 years ago, we were giving a big suitcase of money, and we started developing it. Basically because we wanted to break a monopoly in Denmark. There was one company doing all the development for all the municipalities, and it was getting extremely expensive. And the quality may not have been as good as we wanted it to be. So we changed that. Now, I've only been in the company for the past 2.5 years. But 2.5 years ago, I was entrusted with a project of building a testing and quality capability within the company. It's a huge project that is getting close to its I would say, finalization. It's got a value of 17 million euros. And we're starting to develop the capability, or putting it into use in the next couple of months. So we just jumped a slide there. But that's okay. Now, the whole thing about quality being an infinite journey means that I look into a book, a philosophy that was developed or coined by a guy called James Picasso back in 1986, where he actually talks about the infinite and the finite game. So infinite means that we continue to play, the finite means that we're playing to win. And playing to win means that we have competitors, like in a football game or game of chess, there's winners and losers, casualties. Whereas in the finite game, or the infinite game, we continue to play, we step in and we step out, depending on what is required at a certain point of time. So that's the way that we play it. Now, the requirement for doing that is that we look into what is an infinite perspective. But even in an infinite perspective, we do have a finite perspective as well. And I know that this is getting into circles. It's like getting into a vortex. It's a mind twister. But when we look into infinity, so imagine that you're looking into a picture like this. There is no finite, there is no endpoint, but nevertheless, there are obstacles on the way. And those are the ones that we're looking into when we're looking into playing the finite game, or the infinite game. Now, KOMBIT delivers solutions to the municipalities, and we do that through this game. And we actually use 5 pillars. So there's 5 pillars when we're doing this. And those 5 pillars are all about having a just cause, building trusting teams, but also having worthy rivals. So not competitors, but actually rivals. And we also have to be flexible and nimble. We need to look into agility. Raymond was talking about waterfall. I was born in the waterfall world as well. I used to be a mainframe developer. Moved into quality because I thought there was a better career in there. Mainframe is still there, so hey-ho. And then we need to demonstrate the courage to lead when we're looking into the 5 pillars. So let's delve into those 5 pillars. So a just cause. So a just cause is something so compelling that you want to carry on. It's not about the accolades, it's not about the recognition, it's actually about the cause. The way that KOMBIT works is that we deliver software, we deliver solutions to the municipalities, the Danish citizens. Someone like me. We don't do it for profit, We do it because there's someone out there that really needs those solutions to support the processes that the Danish government put in place. So that's our just cause, no more, no less. The shared trust and ownership is, we need to make it so compelling that everyone that works with this actually feels that they're part of a bigger game, something bigger than themselves. And we do so by inducing trust, ownership. We make sure that everyone understands, they get feedback, everything that they kind of needs to be able to do this. But we also make an environment that enables people to be vulnerable. When we talk about quality, we also talk about errors, defects, getting things wrong. Now, in our company, we talk about learning. We don't get things wrong, we don't find defects, we don't make mistakes. We gain learning. So that's all about building the trust in the company, or in the team, but also building the shared ownership. And time is running. That's a big clock down there. Wow. The worthy rival. So I said, no competitors. But we need someone to actually push us to become better and be able to step further into the quality, make it better every single day, find a purpose to go up and stand there every morning. So in Denmark, we used to be the best in actually digitalization and putting that into place. So we were #1 in the EU. We lost that place last year. Finland is now better than us. So hey ho, Finland. You're a worthy rival. We can learn from you. On the other hand, you can actually learn from us as well. So that's about having rivalry rather than competitors. It's not about winning and losing. It's about stepping up, improving. We talked about waterfall. That wasn't very agile in the times that was around, but now we have agility. And agility also is about flexibility. So we need to be able to be flexible. We need to be able to move. We need to be able to actually change and embrace change. As people, as human beings, we do not like change. Hence, we become competitors rather than rivals. Now, flexibility enables us to grow and improve, create sustainability, maintainability, all those kind of things that we actually find in the secret solution. So being able to be a little bit more agile around that. Courage to lead. Now, that is a big one because every one of us in this room leads. If not our own life, then in work or in other circumstances. But the courage to lead is very, very important. Now, KOMBIT's leadership showed tremendous courage when they entrusted me with this huge project. And the project is all about bringing back home quality and testing from our developers or the development vendors. We want the development vendors to actually be good at what they do. We want them to excel. We want them to make cutting-edge technology. We want to test what they developed for us, but we want to test by actually using cutting-edge technology in that space as well. So you can't be good at everything. So you need to be able to step in and say, okay, I'll take the lead on this one, and be brave, because it is risky business. Because how can we actually make sure that quality is okay if someone else does it and not ourselves? So it's a brave move. So when I talk about quality being a journey without a destination, it is because it is a perpetual growing vortex. It's kind of goes on and on and on. There is no finite, there is no end point to quality. I love the 5 stars in the Sigrid, but there is some complacency to those as well. So when you reach the 5 stars, you become lazy. So I love to work with the objectives that Sigrid actually offers, because those actually make me work a little bit harder. They make me work and grow even more, because I need to maintain my objectives rather than keeping the 5 stars. So curiosity fuels our desire to understand and encourage us to explore uncharted territories all the time. We see only half of the iceberg here. Now, putting ourselves into the water, we start seeing what is beneath the surface. So hence, that's why it's a never-ending journey. To support this, we need some kind of structure, because the infinite game is not just about letting everything go. We still need some kind of structure. I'm sure most of you here understand the concept of a hierarchical organization. So a pine tree, so imagine a pine tree. They actually do what they have a taproot, which goes directly into the ground. They stand there majestic and tall, but come storm, I don't know how many there are in Holland, but in the Netherlands, but in Denmark we have a lot of those trees, and when there's a storm in the autumn, they fall. So building a rhizome, which means that we put roots out underneath the ground and actually starts growing a network, it makes us much more strong. It also gives us the ability to actually continue to grow the quality, continue to actually grow our knowledge, our learning, and share experience. So grow the trusting team. It is a collaborative and inclusive network, whereas the other one is a finite network. So every good becomes a stepping stone to a better, and so on and forever. We keep playing, we keep evolving, we keep improving, constantly seeking input and evaluating to becoming better. Each iteration builds on the previous one, so forth and so on. It's a never-ending story. Maybe some of you remember that story, the never-ending story. That was quite sweet. It's not about that, but it's actually also a never-ending story. So, what we need, a just case, of course. We need to build the trusting team. We also need a worthy rival, and we need flexibility and the courage to lead. So those are some of the elements, or those are the primary 5 pillars in actually playing the infinite game. And on that note, I have 49 seconds left. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. Great stuff. We're going to use those 45 seconds.
I know.
I'm not going to ask you any questions about quality, because I know nothing about quality. Fortunately,
I'm sure you do.
Fortunately, we know we have a very nice chap who's dying to get on stage. He's Ravish Gopal. He's SIG's delivery director for MA, and he's going to ask you a few questions. Okay. If that's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Round of applause
okay.
for Ravish, please.
Thank you.
Yeah. Over to you.
All right, thank you, Heidi.
You're welcome.
That was a thought-provoking presentation. And naturally, that brings up a number of questions.
Yeah.
And to start with, you touched upon it. Why not simply outsource this, as we at SIG often see happening in the market?
When you outsource, you lose control. So what we're doing is we're insourcing, but we're actually using an outsourcing partner. So we're asking someone who actually knows testing and quality better than us to come into the house and help us. They become part of our team. So you can say, yeah, we do outsource it, but we don't really, because outsourcing means, in our perspective, that we lose control.
All right, okay. You talked about quality, and there is quality, of course, but there's also something called the perception of quality.
Yeah.
Now, what is often misunderstood about this perception?
Well, I think we all know, we all have our different ways of looking at quality. And the perception of poor quality lingers on much longer than good quality. So when we're looking at poor quality, so it might be that, I was talking about the stars, the 5 stars. So you may stay in a 5-star hotel, but if you actually come into the room and it turns out that 5-star hotel was a 5-star hotel, but the room is actually a 3-star hotel, that is a bad experience.
Yeah.
And that will stay on much longer than you actually had a good stay. So there is that way of looking at it. So yeah.
And that is then something that leadership really has to drive, this perception?
I think leadership has a good share in it. Because if leadership doesn't, nourish good quality, quality isn't going to come out. So it is part of the leadership to actually not demand, because the word demand is wrong, but the whole thing about saying we want to actually support good quality, we want to grow good quality, that is a leadership task. It's something that we as part of the organization, as those that are doing operational, we need to understand they ask it from us.
Right. But say if you don't.
Yeah.
What would organizations miss out on if they keep playing this finite game?
The finite game, and I think that's where you go into a place and say, okay, I've reached my target. My target was to get to the 5 stars. I'm there. I'll go to the beach and lie in the sun, and the quality will slowly recline as I'm lying in the sun. So you need to actually continue to work that and say, what are the objectives? What is it that I really want to do? I want to have good sustainability, so sustainability in the code in terms of looking at the energy consumption. It could be the maintainability. We had a case where we talked about, so because we do the tendering of everything that we develop, we are currently doing a project together with you, which is we want to do a due diligence on the project or the solution that we are insourcing. And in order to do that, we want to know how much technical debt is there in the code. So if we buy a solution which have 15 years of technical debt contra a solution that has no technical debt, the one that has technical debt is 10 million kroners, or euros for that matter, it doesn't matter, it's just a currency, is cheap, 10 million euros cheaper than the other one. Which one will we buy? From an EU tender perspective, we are forced to buy the one with the 15 years of technical debt because it's less expensive. So that's a ridiculous kind of, what do you call it? I don't know what. The word is missing. It's just,
Dilemma.
Trade-off, thank you.
Trade-off, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and so the road to change starts with awareness, and thanks to your presentation, we received that. Mm-hmm. What can organizations do to start playing this infinite game?
Make a choice. Make a choice of saying we want to play an infinite game rather than a finite game. But it needs to start with the execs. It needs to start with the leadership of making that decision, saying we really want good quality. We want the quality to grow. We want it to be a perpetual cycle of improving the quality rather than just short-term financial goals that drives the objective.
All right. And that is more strategic decision making.
Yeah.
As a final question here, what can leaders do tomorrow?
Go home and build trusting teams, empower their teams. Allow them to actually play and learn from each other, support each other. Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.